Dr. Seuss, as you know, once told a child's fable about the Grinch, who was quite unable to steal the cheer the holidays brought, and about the lesson that he was taught. But if you'll lend me an ear or two, I'll tell you a similar story that's new. It's about a man who commits a crime but discovers the truth that's older than time. It's a prime example of intellectual snobbery in what came to be known as the Great Church Robbery. The church was known for its love and affection, and they invited folks in from every direction. But to one neighbor named Mr. DeWitt, their invitations didn't matter one bit. DeWitt hated them, and for their Christian religion he held no love, not even a smidgen. He considered their pastor to be a big fake, and their clanging church bells made his head ache. Though he felt that way, not because of his head, but the fact that his soul was spiritually dead. So, with a heart full of meanness and doubt, he watched Sunday morning as their service let out, staring out of his window with a cold, ugly sneer at their warm handshakes and smiles full of cheer.
"They'll all be returning,"
he said with a bark,
"for tonight's service as soon as it's dark, and then with their worship they'll raise a commotion. But what it's about, I haven't a notion. They'll set that big church bell to ringing, then they'll all begin praying and singing. They'll pound the piano and the organ too, but why they must do it, I haven't a clue. Why, for too many years I've put up with this stuff. It's driving me crazy. I've had quite enough."
As he got angry thinking of how they would do it, he suddenly snapped,
"I must put a stop to it, without all their church stuff."
He went on with a growl.
"Their bright, happy mood would quickly turn foul."
Then a wicked idea hit his wicked old brain.
"I'll pretend I'm a blind man with dark glasses and cane. I'll steal all their things, and if anyone spies me, in my clever get-up, they won't recognize me."
Yes, he felt quite proud and thought himself wise. So, armed with a plan and a tricky disguise, he cranked up his pickup with a gear-grinding lurch and pulled it up to the back door of the church. Then, breaking a window pane with a rock, he reached inside and opened the lock.
"This is too easy,"
the fake blind man hissed as he tiptoed inside, cane clenched in his fist. Then he lowered his glasses and peered all around to make sure that no one was there to be found.
"These speakers,"
he said,
"are the first things I'll steal,"
as he loaded them onto his truck, the old heel. Then he ripped up and threw out the pads on the pews. Yes, he took every comfort, and the instruments too. Then he carried the songbooks, all he could heft, and even the Bible was not above theft. When he had taken all he could rob, he was turning to go when he heard a small sob. Grabbing his cane, he spun round with a whirl, and there stood by the altar a tiny young girl.
"Who's there?"
he asked, while tapping his cane.
"You see, I'm quite blind, and I don't know your name."
"My daddy's the pastor, and I'm Mary Sue."
Then with trembling voice she asked,
"Who are you?"
"Just a friend,"
he said,
"no need to fear,"
as he motioned the little girl to draw near. DeWitt faked a smile and kneeled down beside her, and when she smiled back, the room, somehow, seemed brighter.
"You see,"
he lied,
"God sent me indeed, for even a blind man can see you're in need. So I'm taking the old out and buying all new, and as soon as I'm finished, I'll send it to you."
So he pulled the wool over her eyes with his sightless act and clever lies, and he condescendingly patted her head, but he was taken aback at the next thing she said.
"Oh, kind sir, I wonder if I might pray that the Lord would give you your sight."
And before he could answer or move out of the way, she lay her small hands on his brow to pray.
"Dear Jesus, I thank you for being so kind and to ask you to touch this man who is blind. Bring the light to his eyes and help him to see. So give him this gift, Lord, and do it for me."
And when she had finished, his throat was all dry, and behind his dark glasses a tear dimmed his eye, and conviction had fallen on him like a great weight, but he croaked,
"Thank you, dearie, but now I'll be late. So go on back home now and don't say a word or tell anybody what you have heard."
And as he watched the pastor's child depart, he felt a strange tug deep down in his heart. But he shook it off with a snort and a shrug, and as he was leaving, he threw out the rug. It was 6:30, soon the church would be full, so he cranked up the pickup and away he did pull. Up the winding dirt road to the top of the hill he drove with their stuff, which then he would spill. When he came to the top, it was getting quite dark as he drove toward the cliff and put it in park. He jumped out of the truck and strode to the ledge and stood looking expectantly over the edge.
"They know by now,"
he said with a grin,
"that their services there have all been done in. They're wailing and moaning and they'll all shed a tear. That's something,"
said DeWitt,
"that I wish I could hear."
But he could hear a sound, quiet and low, rising up from the church in the valley below. But this sound wasn't tearful. Why, it sounded quite cheerful. Everyone there to the smallest fellow, was singing their favorite songs a cappella. He hadn't stolen their joy. It remained. In spite of their losses, they worshipped the same.
Maybe their joy doesn't come from what's done. Perhaps,
He smiled.
it comes from someone.
But suddenly his heart was clutched with cold fear as he noticed the pickup had slipped out of gear. It rolled toward the cliff edge, that rusty old clunker, as he leaped in its path and shoved hard on the bumper. But it didn't slow down, though his feet plowed the sod, and for the first time in his life, DeWitt prayed out to God.
Lord, I know I was wrong. All these church things to take. So save them. And me also. For Jesus' sake.
And then the light of heaven shone in, as Mr. DeWitt was born again. And he felt a strange power he'd not felt before, as he found the strength of Samson and more. He stopped that old truck and turned it around. Then he hopped up inside and drove down to the town. He pulled up at the church and brought back what he took, each musical instrument and every songbook. Then he went to the altar, and beside it he knelt, as he praised the Lord Jesus for the peace he now felt. And he hugged Mary Sue as she climbed on his knee, for her prayer had been answered, and now he could see.